Well, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Poorboys Little Homestead. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Guys, today we're finna change the 4 idler pulleys and the blade belt on this bad boy Elite 0-turn mower here. Now, I don't know if you've seen the video. I already done one video on the changing the hydraulic fluid in it and filters, and that's when I discovered I had a belt that was almost broke in two, and my pulleys, they already, you know, they got them sealed bearings. You can't grease them, but they done got dry and roaring. So I went on and got me 4 new pulleys, and I'm gonna change and put a new belt and a new idler pulleys. So let's jump into this and see how hard this little project's gonna be. Now, I got the 4 pulleys, and they all 4 the same pulleys, but one of mine's apparently is a different brand because it don't look just like the other ones, but it's the same size. So I'll probably put it on the tensioner, since it's ain't got the holes in it. It ain't gonna make no difference, but I'll put it on the tensioner. That way it'll look like it's different for a reason. Now, on this bad boy, you can tilt the floorboard up here and get access. And I'm gonna try to lower my deck. And guys, I'm gonna try to do this without removing the deck. Just looking at it, I believe it's possible. But first, we're gonna remove these covers over these pulleys right here. That's a 13mm wrench. Like I said, my pulleys ain't out, they just dry. Since you can't grease them, and they just dry and make that roaring sound. But I'm gonna change them, and then if I ever have one of these to go out, I have them I could put back on there in emergency. And that belt right there, I seen a big crack in it a while ago. But if it ain't broke at least halfway in two, I keep that belt, because you don't never know. You might be in the middle of mowing, and I could throw this belt back on there to finish mowing my yard while I wait on a new one to come in. But we'll look at that when we get her off and see how bad she actually looks. Also, when we get the belt off, we're gonna look at these blade spindle hubs. So next, I'm gonna just pull the belt here and roll it off this pulley. Y'all, I can tell already that blade spindle ain't got no slack in it, but it's making a lot of dry noise. So this video, for my part of it, ain't gonna get finished today, but for y'all's part of it, it will. Because I'm gonna take that off and have to put new bearings in it. That's very dry sounding. Both of them. Now, there ain't no slack in them. The idler pulleys got a little slack in them. But the idler pulleys ain't where all that noise is coming from. All that noise is coming from that blade right there. That's where all the noise is coming from. But anyway, I'm gonna go on back here, and I'm gonna use my other camera here to show y'all where the drive belt, the belt that comes back to the motor, and I'm gonna show y'all where you remove it back here. Now guys, the belt's this belt right here on the bottom, which ain't nothing to it, just pop it right off of there. But y'all will see on the video of changing out the drive belt and that tensioner pulley up here, we're gonna have to take this electric clutch off. All right. So one of the first things I'm gonna do is check out the new belt, make sure it's the right size. Guys, it looks like it's gonna be best just to go on and remove the deck from the lawnmower. Is what I'm thinking here. And I'm gonna show y'all down here what we gotta do. So to remove the deck, I either gotta take this little bolt right here that's holding that chain, or either this bolt right down here. And that'll be on both sides. And then I gotta undo this bolt nut right here to undo this arm that's holding the front. So that's what I'm gonna be undoing to remove the deck out from under this lawnmower. I already knew I wasn't gonna get by doing it the easy way. Also, I had to remove his other arm right here. I didn't show y'all. That's got to be removed. But I think I'm going to remove it up here on this bolt toward the top. Now that ain't no 3/4 there. I don't know what size that is. I'm going to use this little monkey wrench right here I was trying to use to back up. Now this side's removed. See if we can remove this side. And guys, that looks like that ought to be it. Now how am I going to get it out from under there? I'm going to pick it up and push the lawnmower backwards. That's how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to lay the rest of my stuff back up on there. Yeah, that's where all my noise is coming from. So let's see. This one here I can hold back up from the top. So let's go on and see if we can get one of them changed. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with these Idler pulleys. Ain't nothing wrong with them Idler pulley there at all. But we're gonna go on while we got new ones and put new ones on there. And here we'll see what I'm doing. But that there ain't got no slack in it, so. Alright, so we got 1 out of 4. The other 3s I'm gonna have to raise up. And hold back up under him. Then my wrench got in a bind, so I had to go get me a hammer to get it off. Where's number 4 at down there? Number 4 hid under there. There's number 4, guys. All right. So now what I'm finna do, I'm gonna go and suck this blade off him. And we're gonna remove one of these spindle housings. Actually, I'm gonna have to hold the back up on the inside. You got 4 bolts holding your spindle housings on. So I might as well go on and order 3 total new houses, and then I'd have a total rebuilt deck here. But we got to get the pulley off the top too before we pull this out. And to do that, we're gonna hold back up right here on this shaft with this monkey wrench. Remove that bolt. And the pulley just slides right off, and when you do that, make sure you don't lose that key in that pulley. And then we got one more bolt to come off. And guys, there's a bushing right there. Make sure you don't lose that bushing. But that's how you remove your blade spindle housing. And like I said, these little baby dolls ain't cheap. So what I'm finna do now, I'm finna go on and remove the other 2, just like I just did this one. Man, I hate that I didn't get the right belt. Cause I ordered that belt, so I had to send that back. Now guys, there's a chance I ain't got to buy this whole housing If I can get them two bearings pulled out of there, I might be able to go to the parts house and cross them bearings, and they have a size that'll press right back in this housing. If I can do that, that'll save about 300 bucks, if not more. Alright guys, so instead of trying to buy this whole housing, I come around here to my vise, and that first bearing knocked out pretty good, pretty easy. So I'm going to turn this over, put it in my vise, and all I'm doing is taking a rod with a blunt tip, putting down in there, and it knocked that bearing right out. So now I ought to be able to go to the parts store and get a bearing this size. But see how dry that bearing sounds? That's where all that racket's coming from in that lawnmower. So that's how you knock the bearings out, and then when you get the new ones, you just put them back in there and take your wood block and pick them back in gently. And you ain't got to buy this expensive housing. Like I said, these are over $100 a piece. Uppers of $150 just for the housing. Spindle everything already assembled. Alright guys, so as y'all can see, there was another plan change. I got word about it. Did they send me the wrong belt for my drive belt, so I wanted to go on and take it off this afternoon. But this little project was more than I thought. In order to remove the drive belt, like I was showing y'all earlier, you got to remove the electric clutch here that engages your belts. Then you got to remove the tensioner pulley from under there, and this comes up through the frame, and it has a welded nut on there, but then on top of that nut was a lock nut. So you remove the lock nut from the top, and then you can get under there and take a ratchet and undo this one. But now you couldn't undo it with the impact wrench because it was something in the way straight up under it, so you had to have a ratchet with a short socket. Well, then after I done that, I got trying to remove the belt from the little fans over the hydrostatic gearbox. There's two of them, one for each side. Well, they didn't leave enough room, and I'm going to show y'all with my other camera, to get the belt over it. So therefore, you had to come undo these two bolts right here that's holding the transmission, one bolt right here that goes through the frame, and one bolt right up here on the front. And I'm going to show y'all a close-up with that with my other camera. You didn't have to take them all the way out, you just had to loosen them off so you could drop your axles down, your axles and gear case down about a ½ inch in order to get your belt over your fins and pulley up here. And I'd already bought an Idler pulley because I knew I had to remove this, and I said if I'm going to go through that trouble, I'm going to put a new Idler pulley on there while I'm putting a new belt. Luckily they sent me the right belt for that. I think what happened on the other belt, this is a 54-inch mower, and I think their belt they sent me for a 60-inch mower. That would add up about 6 inches like I was showing y'all. That's how long the belt was. But anyway, I'm going to show y'all real quick on my other camera what's going on here. And then I'm going to start putting this back together and try to get the drive belt and all on this thing. And then tomorrow I have to go to the parts house and see if I can get some bearings for the deal. And either order me another belt or see if I can find one around town. So here we go. So here's your close-up shot. You had to undo these two bolts on each side. One here and one here. Like I said, you didn't have to take them out. It just lets it drop down about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. You had this one bolt right here, comes through the frame. You can see it jumping up right there. You just had to loosen it up, and then you got one on the front. Same thing. You can see it, let it fall down about 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to show y'all the other side's the same way, but you had to let it fall down 1/2 inch in order to get your drive belt to have room to get it between the frame and that pulley to get your belt off and to get the new belt back on. Right here is where the idler pulley fastens on. It goes through the frame and it has the welded nut on top, and then you put the lock nut on top of it. Right, I think my hand's in the way, but right there. And then of course you had your tensioner spring come across and hooked on this little bracket. So now I'm going to start reassembling. I'm going to put my new belt back over the pulleys, the front fan pulleys up here. They got little fan blades to cool your hydrostatic gearbox, I guess. Once I get my new belt over them two pulleys, then I'm going to start tightening all these bolts back up to tighten my rear end up, and then I can reassemble my idler pulley that goes right here, put my fan clutch back on, and put my drive belt on. That way I'll be just focusing on the deck. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll show y'all a finished shot when I get done. Alright guys, you can see I got the belt back on. And here's where I was showing y'all where the idler tension pulley and the bolt goes through the frame up here where the bolt's welded on top, and then you got a backup nut up there. When you put that on, you don't tighten it too tight, because that's got to have room to move. And here's your tensioner spring and the tensioner bolt. Now I ain't got no belt tensioner gauge, so I just put mine right back to where it was. It's been on there for 5 years, and it ain't never given me no trouble, so I put it back just like it was in the same spot. Now I got to put my electric clutch right here and plug it back in, and the drive belt will all be assembled. Put the back tires back on the lawnmower, and I'll be ready for my work on my deck again. Alright guys, so today is 2 days later, and I've received my bearings. So we're going to go on and rebuild our blade spindles here, put our bearings in, and we can put the deck back together and get it back under the lawnmower. And then I'm going to have to wait on my belt. I couldn't find a belt in the town here, so I had to order it, and it's going to be another day before it comes in. So we got our bearings, and all of the bearings, top and bottoms, 2 bearings in each spindle housing, and they're the exact same bearing, so I got 6 bearings here. And guys, the belt, I think I've already said, was they actually sent me the belt for a 60-inch mower instead of the 54-inch mower, but I got another belt on the way. So the belts, the bearings, the pulleys, there'll be an affiliated link in the description below where you can get these bearings and belts and parts if you need them. So we've been put our bearings in our housing here. There's our bolt, there's our pulley. Like I said, when you pull that pulley off, make sure you don't let that key fall out. Now whoever assembled this lawnmower, these pulleys on top of all of these, all 3 of these shaft housing has an Allen head screw right here. And once you put the pulley on, you normally would tighten that screw down so it would fit snug. Well, apparently they didn't tighten the screw down, because y'all seen when I pulled these off, they just slid right off. Now they can't go nowhere because they have that key, but when I put them back on, I will tighten that Allen screw down there just a little bit snug. So you want to take your shaft out of your housing. This little spacer, don't lose it. And don't forget, when you put your bearing in, you're going to put your bearing in one end, you're going to slide your shaft in there, then don't forget to put this spacer inside before you put your top bearing in. If you do, you're going to have to pull it back apart, and then you might damage your new bearing doing so. So I'm going to start by putting my bearing in the top right here. Now all I do is I set mine on there and I take a little board. That way it won't damage nothing. And this would work better if you was on a stouter table than I am. I'm going to get over here on the, let me get up here on top of this vise. But you want to use a board. You don't want to hit that straight with your hammer. Now we're going to pull our spacer off. We're going to slide our shaft in there. But first, before I do that, I got a piece of emery cloth, and you can see on the end of this shaft here, it's kind of got a little rust on it. So I'm going to just kind of go around that shaft with this emery cloth to get that rust off. Now we're going to go back in, and you see it slid right through the bearing then. Here's where you do not forget your spacer. Your big spacer. After that, got to get another bearing out of the pack here. They got them sealed up in some good little packages, that's for sure. You want to set that bearing over there. I'm going to remove my shaft back out of there, guys. Like I said, make sure your spacer's in the inside. I can't put my bearing in with my shaft in there because I couldn't lay my 2x4 on there flat. Now that one's in there. Now we're going to put our shaft in. Have to give it just a little bump because it's tight in that new bearing. Put your spacer on. Then slide your pulley on. Put your spacer back on. Let it fall off. Now see you guys, that spacer looks like it's supposed to have an Allen screw in it that tighten up against that shaft for what it looks like. But it ain't got no Allen screw in it. Then you put your pulley on. And this is where I'm going to tighten the Allen screw. But at this point, we're finna put our bolt that holds the pulley on it. And before I tighten the Allen screw, I'm going to tighten this with the impact wrench, and it'll pull them pulleys down to make sure everything's seated the way it needs to be. Alright guys, now we got our impact. I'm going to put this in the vise because you got to hold back up. Put the vise right there to hold back up for me. And that looks like that got it. Don't hear all that roaring when you turn it now, do you? Now guys, for all these lawnmower manufacturers, there's certain ones out there, an aluminite right in the top where you can grease, keep that bearing in there greased. If they would do that, these would last a lot longer. So now I'm finna take this and over there and bring the other one back. We're gonna do the same thing to the other two. And then we're gonna get over there and assemble the deck back together. But before I do that, I'm gonna take my Allen wrench and tighten this little Allen screw on top of this pulley here. I don't really know what that's supposed to do because it can't go nowhere with that bolt in there. I guess that might just help it in case the bolt got loose. It keep it from free spinning or something maybe. But we tightened her up anyway. Now guys, when I walked around there to get the other spindle, I realized something. We can't put the pulley on here until after we put the housing back on the lawnmower. What'd y'all let me do that for? Huh? Some of you out there was laughing at me when y'all seen what I was doing. So we're gonna take that back off. Take our pulley back off. And we're gonna take this around there to the lawnmower deck, and I'm gonna get the other two and install the bearings, and then we gotta go install this under the mower deck, and then we can put the pulley on top. Y'all, somebody laughing their little hot sign at you. All right, here we are on number 2. Yeah, somebody was out there laughing at me. Knew I'd done put that pulley on there and was gonna have to take it back off. And guys, y'all see on that spacer I was telling y'all supposed to have a little Allen screw? This one's got a little Allen screw, but apparently whoever assembled this lawnmower, and I've had it for 5 years, a few weeks will be 5 years, they never tighten these Allen screws up. Now in reality, I don't think it matters, because if that bolt's tight, this can't go nowhere. All it can do is spin. But anyway, I'm gonna tighten them back up, and I'm gonna look and see if I got another, find a screw that'll fit in that other one. Now this one's got a little bit of rust on the inside, so I'm gonna give it a quick lick with the emery cloth paper on both ends where the bearing's gonna sit down in there. Don't forget to put this spacer in there before you put that other bearing. And trust me, I have done that before. And then you go to trying to knock this bearing back out, and you end up running it and having to go buy another bearing. You want to make sure when you do that, you get them all the way in where they flush. Make sure they're seated flush. Now again, I'm going to hit my shaft here with a little emery cloth. It's got a little rust up here toward the top. And there may have to take just a little bumping. There it goes. Make sure my shaft's all the way down. Now see that Allen screw right there? I'm going to tighten up on that little spacer like it's supposed to be. Whoever assembled this lawnmower didn't do that. This time I ain't gonna put my pulley on. I'm gonna take it around there for later. Here we go on number 3. Now guys, if y'all trying to do this yourself, and someone's trying to say you got to order the whole spindle, you can't just put bearings in them. You may want to take your lawnmower apart first and see if you can get the bearings out like I did before you buy these expensive, the whole shaft assembly here. Like I said, this is $100 to $150 a piece for the whole assembly. And I think the 6 bearings wouldn't be like $35. And I did order these bearings off of Amazon. because I looked them up and they had them on there for 2-day shipping. Again, don't forget your spacer. Make sure everything's flush. The reason I'm bumping it like that, I want to make sure my shaft is seated all the way in there. Now this little spacer right here still got its Allen screw in it. Alright guys, that's all it takes to replace your bearings. $35 in about ever how many minutes it took me. But now guys, I'm going to go in there and go through my scrap bin and see if I can find a screw that'll fit that other little Allen screw that'll fit this spacer on that other one. We're going to get that deck over there and we're going to reassemble it, get it back under the lawnmower, and we'll just be waiting on our belt to come in. Alright guys, now I know when I took this apart, I didn't give y'all a shot of the front. I had my camera set up and everything y'all seen was from the back. So now we're going to do it opposite so y'all can see this side and I can tell y'all a little bit more about what's going on. But when I've replaced all the Idler pulleys, which is 4 of them, there's 3 of them and then there's one on the tensioner spring. The bolts for them is a 19mm. And you hold back up on the underside of the deck. You know, just unscrew the nut off the top end, just pull the pulley off, stuck it back on. Simple as that. Now the spindle housings here has 4 bolts that holds them on, and that's 14mm. And you install them from the bottom up and your nut goes on the top. And that keeps your nut and thread from rusting the longest, because if it was up under this deck, it's going to rust a lot quicker than it does when you put your nut and bolt on top. I mean your nut and washer on top. Like I said, it's just 4 bolts holds that on, and they're 14mm. Some people might want their nut and washer on bottom, but to me they'll rust quicker being on up under the deck. So there's one of them installed. Now we're going to do the other 2 the same way. Now guys, it may just be me, but when I work on something just like these shaft housings and stuff, I kept a track and I put the one that came out of that side right back in that side. The one that come out of the middle is going right back in the middle. Now it shouldn't make any difference, but that's just the way I do things. Now guys, what I'm doing here, this pulley has a key in it so it can't go anywhere. But I like putting me a little grease on here and go on and put some grease on my threads on them bolts I put back in. And maybe next time I have to do this, everything will come apart good. Cause them sealable bearings, they ain't gonna last a lifetime. About 250 hours of mowing and they're gonna be roaring again. Alright, next guys, we're gonna go and put our pulleys back on. And by the way, I found a screw to go in that spacer that the set screw was gone out of. And I just happened to have one in my scrap bin. Guys, I was looking to make sure I wasn't gonna put these pulleys on upside down, but It looks like they must be tapered. They only go on one way anyway. If they did go on that way, pulley would be too high, so they ain't but one way they can go on. They're tapered on the end, so it won't let you put them on upside down anyways. If I could put them upside down, that's what I'd end up doing. Now I got a whole back up on the shaft back there. The shaft under here has a little where you can hold back up on it to tighten these down. It's time to get the lawnmower over here under this shade tree and put our deck back on. And then we're gonna be waiting on the belt to come in. All right, guys, that wasn't so bad. Now I got to slide it to us a little bit. First, we're gonna put these arms right back in place. Now guys, all I gotta do is set the back of the deck on something and get my little bolts that lift the chain up there. This is gonna be done easier by getting something to pick the deck up and setting it on the board. Alright guys, so the deck's back under the lawnmower. All I gotta do is sharpen my blades. That's why I didn't put them on the deck. I gotta get them sharp. Sharpen my blades, put my blades on, and next we'll put the belt on this baby and put these two little plastic covers back over the pulleys. And we'll be off to mowing. Alright guys, now we're about 4 days into this little video and we got our new belt in. A strand belt, and I believe this is the right belt this time. This is a Strands 265-431. It says replaces bad boy 041-1560-00. And I held it up against my old belt and it seemed like I got the right belt this time. So right now we got a diagram right over here. And I'm gonna show y'all an up close shot of the diagram how this belt's gonna be run. Alright guys, right there is the diagram on how the belt goes on. So we finna see if we can get this new belt put on. Shouldn't be no trouble to put the belt on, but you never know. Diagram goes around that pulley on the blade, behind the idler pulley here, around this blade, pulley in the center, back around idler pulley there, and around this blade, pulley here, back around that idler there. And I got to get this one back around that idler pulley there. Now guys, I'm going to go under the back of the lawnmower. And if I can't get it to pull over that motor pulley back there, the clutch, I'll come back and I'll take it off the tensioner pulley, get it on the clutch pulley, and then I'll have to get me a wrench and pull the tension on that tensioner pulley. But I'm gonna see if I can roll it over this clutch. Alright guys, so the belt jumped off the tensioner pulley up there. So I'm gonna go on and put it around the clutch here. And then I'm gonna go back up front and see if we can pull it, the tensioner pulley. And then the belt ought to be on. Guys, I don't know how well y'all can see this. This here's the tensioner pulley, and it's spring loaded. Now, you could go through the trouble of undoing the spring on the tensioner and stuff, but I'm gonna try to do it without undoing that. So what I did, I put it over the Idler pulley. Now I'm gonna see if I can roll it over this blade pulley. See if that'll work better. Again, there we go. That rolled right on there. So guys, that wasn't so hard. Now we're gonna put our little plastic covers over our pulleys over here. Now, I already sharpened my blades and put them on there. And I went on and ordered some new blades too. But we're gonna save our new ones to next time. Alright guys, that concludes the rebuilding of the deck. We done replaced all the Idler pulleys, we replaced the bearings in the blade shaft housings. We put a new deck belt on here, we put a new drive belt on here, and a new Idler pulley on the drive belt. So everything should be good to go. So let's fire up and see if it sounds better. Well, it sounds like a normal lawnmower now. It ain't all that high, dry roaring bearings. Now guys, these bearings, like I said earlier, they wasn't totally out, but they were so dry they wasn't gonna last much longer. And I wanted to go on and replace them and get everything good to go. Now I got a review on this Bad Boy Elite lawnmower here. I try to attach above if y'all want to go back and see it. I've been pretty happy with this lawnmower. The only thing I ever, if I remember right, the only thing I ever replaced was the starter on the motor. The starter got weak. And after I got that starter motor, and that was about 100+ hours into it, I realized when I put that new starter motor on there that the starter that come on this engine apparently was weak from the get-go, because it never did spin this motor like that new starter does. But overall, I've been happy with the lawnmower. Now you may ask, and it's gonna be everybody's opinion, the lawnmower has 254 hours on it. And the bearings is dry, they soluble bearings. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna compare it to unless you've owned a different brand lawnmower. I've had this lawnmower just a couple weeks gonna be 5 years, so I'm happy with that part. But at the same time, I think the bearings ought to last longer than 250 hours. But this ain't a commercial lawnmower. This is considered a homeowner's residential lawnmower. So that's going to be everybody's opinion on what you think about that and what you got to compare it to. Now, there's some lawnmowers on the market, and I think most of them's going to be commercial. I'm not 100% sure. They have greasable alamites where you can grease your hubs on your bearings on your blades. Now I like that. Next lawnmower I purchase, that's gonna be one of the things I'm gonna be looking for. Well guys, I hope this little video helped someone out. Maybe you wanted to do the work and replace the stuff on your deck and you wanted to get a little, see how it's done before you do it. I hope it helps you out. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Best way you can help me grow my channel is to share my videos on your social media. But thanks for watching. God bless. Y'all have a good day. See y'all next time.